Lovely. Thank you very much for that presentation. Now we have Maria Buttazzoni. Now, Maria is, as I said before, the guru of speechcraft. She's a Sergeant at Arms at the moment of Chermside Communicators, which I'm a member of, and a wonderful all-round Toastmaster. Now, Maria is going to tell us about Sergeant at Arms and how Sergeant at Arms is an integral part of our team within the Toastmasters Club. So over to you, Maria, with your presentation on Sergeant at Arms. Thank you. And unmute. Yeah. It's always the thing with us.
That's better. You never hear me swearing in English. You always hear me swearing in Sicilian just to save my face. I joined Toastmasters only 10 years ago. I joined for the reason I wanted to improve my speeches, but especially impromptu speaking, because I was absolutely terrified. Now, I came from a background that I'd been working as an occupational therapist for many, many years. In my early years, when I worked at Royal Brisbane Hospital, I was thrust into the being head of department role. And it was really scary for one very naive, inexperienced occupational therapist. However, there was a wonderful specialist, Dr. Frank Johnson, who took me under his wing. And it's because of him that I learned to do more speeches. If I had known in those days all those informative and persuasive speeches that I did at the hospital, especially in an environment that was more the medical model and certainly not the allied health model, I would have filled volumes and volumes of those old manuals that we used to have. Never mind, it was a great experience. So I joined Toastmasters with the idea I was going to join one club, and that was it. I wasn't going to do anything else at all. Here I am years later. I managed to get my DTM. I belong to 4 clubs. I've been an area director 2 years in a row. Let me briefly describe the difference in those 2 years. The first year I was dragged in kicking and screaming, and I had death threats to poor Rod Luck, because he was the one that asked me. The next year, I put up my hand and I just said to Robert Green, much to his surprise, "Oh, you haven't got someone for Area 36 in Brisbane Division? Hey, I'll do it." I think poor Robert Green nearly fell over. I totally loved my experience with Area 36. I learned so much more than I ever thought possible. I even learned the challenge of one club was in a very, very bad way. How was I going to cope with a very resistant president who really did not want to have a bar of anything or anyone from Toastmasters? I'm very pleased to say the club survived and has thrived. What else do I do now? Well, of course, I absolutely love speechcraft. I stumbled that along in my journey. And it's not just the adult speechcraft that we do. I became very involved with a local high school on Northside Brisbane, and that's just opened up my eyes more and more to become more and more involved and just get so involved there, because I truly believe that if we get the students interested one day when they're adults, they will remember they did that at school, and somewhere along the line in their adult life, they're going to join, because we certainly need to get as many more members as possible. What lessons overall have I learned from being in Toastmasters? You've got to give things a go. You must get out of your comfort zone and never, ever be scared to put up your hand and ask for help. And never think that, oh, I better not ask for help because I'm going to look stupid. You've got to get over that, because it is definitely the only way to learn. They're the 3 most important lessons that I have learned. Oh, and by the way, my my absolute terror of table topics, and this is going back a few years ago. Dr. Johnson, when he died, was such a popular person. I am certain there would have been at least 800 at his funeral, if not more. And after all the eulogies were given, people were asked, would anyone else like to get up and say something? And I knew that I owed this man such a huge, huge debt of gratitude for what he had done for me. I forced myself to get up and walk up to the front and just say a few words, because he truly deserved it. He was simply one of a kind, this particular man. Eventually, I learned to take on some executive roles. I was encouraged to do the Sergeant of Arms, and even that scared me until I realised it's a fabulous starting off role for anyone. I am pleased that I have, not only that I did it and why I did it, but I managed to get 2 people to do that role because I knew it was going to be good for them. They were exceptionally quiet and shy, and I just encouraged and helped them along. And I said, look, this is what you do. It is so structured. It's going to give you confidence. This is how you start. You are responsible to open the meeting. You are responsible for the equipment. And this is how you go about it. And I outlined the simple things. Here is the equipment. You learn to look after it. You come to the meeting a little bit early because it's your role to set up the room. It's your role to greet people when they come through the door. It's your role to make sure there's any evaluation forms that are used throughout the meeting, for example, to tick off who's the best in table topics or speeches. You can even add, have some initiative, and you can throw in a funny joke or something just to lighten the mood. I was told by the person before, always give a funny joke to begin with, not a long one, but it helps to lighten the mood of the meeting and get everybody into a good mood. And I never forgot that. When this next person took over, it really developed her very clever, dry sense of humour. And I would just sit back every night at the meeting and I was just tickled pink just to see her grow and develop. That really made my heart sing. The Sergeant of Arms role has to be a very rewarding role, and it's so structured. That's what's so great about it. You can't go wrong. It's foolproof. It's just a great way to get started. And I recommend anyone who thinks, oh, no, I couldn't possibly be on the exec committee. Oh, no, treasurer is too hard. Oh, that's money. Oh, president, no, public relations. I will say Sergeant of Arms has to be the very best way to start your involvement in the exec committee. You just can't go wrong. And from there, you just take one step more and get involved in another role in the exec committee. I've been a president once, but mainly Sergeant of Arms at the moment. But plenty of years left in my life yet to still do more roles. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Maria. That was just wonderful.